Hi, it's Lindsay with Mommy Lactation. And keeping with the theme of breastfeeding might not be for everybody, I wanted to talk a little bit about how to safely dry up your milk supply. So if you're one of those moms who decides you don't want to breastfeed, no problem. Here are a couple pointers to try to keep your breast health intact. So if you've watched the physiology videos, you know that we have about 3 days of the colostrum phase before we transition to the engorgement phase, which is when essentially all of the glandular tissue, all of the prolactin receptor sites in your breast at the time will fill with milk. Now, even if you don't stimulate at all, there's some glandular tissue that will make milk. So there's a couple ways to go about it. First, if you know for sure you have no interest at all in breastfeeding, like absolutely zero, don't want to do it, there is a pharmaceutical called cabergoline. It is an off-label use. Many physicians are willing to prescribe it for this reason. It's a very low dose. So if you know you don't want to breastfeed, you can ask your provider to prescribe cabergoline within the first 24 hours of delivery. So for moms who I speak within the prenatal period, they're like, hey, I'm not interested. I'm like, cool, let's make sure that your breasts stay healthy. Cabergoline can actually inhibit any milk production, so it can bypass the engorgement phase. If you're one of those moms who is kind of on the fence, I encourage you to lay down the receptor sites, stimulate well, and then if you're on the fence, you can either ramp it up or turn it off. So if you're one of those moms who has a milk supply kind of stimulated and you get to the engorgement phase and you're like, hey, I don't want to do this, there's multiple ways to go about it. So first, you can do it the non-pharmaceutical way, which is get a pump, typically a hand pump, and make sure the flange fits, which go to the flange fitting video if you need pointers on that. It has to be comfortable. It should always be comfortable pumping or breastfeeding, okay? So if it hurts, if it pinches to pump, then find a larger or smaller flange. So again, if you're made it into the engorgement phase and you feel engorged, but you don't want to breastfeed baby, or if you're in the devastating situation where there's no baby to breastfeed or to offer milk to, then you can pump to comfort, but don't pump to drain. And typically every 3 or so hours, you'll feel a letdown experience. Pump to comfort, not to drain. Sometimes it'll be half an ounce, sometimes it'll be an ounce, sometimes it'll be a quarter of an ounce, just enough to get the pressure off. And then you'll slowly decrease your milk supply and wean. Typically, involution itself takes a while, 90 days, takes a long time to completely wrap up. But you can kind of markedly decrease your breast milk just by slowly tapering your withdrawal, your pull from the breast. So another way to do it, if you want to kind of incorporate a pharmaceutical, is it's again an off-label use, but I can tell you that if you're breastfeeding, you shouldn't take Benadryl or Sudafed because it will dry up your milk supply. So anything that dries up secretions here will dry up secretions here. And so that includes peppermint tea and sage tea. So things that make you feel dry will make these dry, okay? And so Sudafed, Benadryl, peppermint tea, sage tea, a couple things to just avoid if you're trying to create breast milk, and so, or utilize if you're trying to decrease your milk supply. Yeah, those are the kind of tips and tricks. So it kind of goes along with weaning. Every mom's feeding journey looks totally different, right? And so if mom is 3 months into breastfeeding, she's don't like it, don't want to do it anymore, how do I turn it off? Kind of the same idea. Okay, so you're either going to taper your stimulation, slowly decrease the pull, or you can take some of these substances that can markedly decrease your production. If you're in the situation where you feel engorged, you pump to comfort, but you're uh-oh, I'm getting some clogged ducts. Clogged ducts, the best therapy is to put pressure on them. It hurts like stink, but do it. Put pressure on them and massage toward the nipple tip. If they're higher up in your axilla, you can massage toward your axilla. There's some drainage back here too. So anyway, Mama Mia is interested in helping you feed your baby however you want to feed your baby. So if you are hoping to strictly bottle feed your baby, I encourage you to research paced bottle feeding and make sure that you are holding that bottle parallel, no matter how you're holding baby, either baby upright, parallel here, baby bottom on belly, out sideways here, or looking at baby parallel here. Paced bottle feeding is extremely important. So check it out. I've got a video over on the YouTube channel, Pearls for the Girls Paced Bottle Feeding. So if you're one of those moms, go check it out. Anyway, be well. I'm glad you made a decision that was right for you. If you have any other questions about kind of how to taper breast milk supply, you can call me for a consult or check out the Mamamia lactation videos at mamamia.com. Be well. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please subscribe or like. It helps me along the way. I appreciate it. All right, be well. I have full confidence in you, and thank you for watching these videos.